Africa, tout monde pral fini.
We got quite a few friends with us. Just to talk about the failing coup d'etat orchestrated by Donald J. Trump in America. Failing. This guy been calling Africa a soul country, Haiti a soul country. My thinking, Mr. Donald, if you want to do the coup, you should go and learn from those countries because they're not doing better than you. You fell into that miserably. And then that caused the death of quite a few people. And then that dragged to a lot of saying, racism, the whole 9 yards. My partner is here today. Let me let everybody introduce themselves. I got Rich McNeil. Rich is from Trinidad. Please, Rich, introduce yourself.
Hey, my name is Rich McNeil. I was born in Trinidad, but I grew up in the United States. I came here when I was 13 years old. I currently work for an international airline as an area manager, among other things. So, I mean, that's a short and brief introduction to who I am.
Thank you, Rich. And nous avons aussi Salim Dia de Paris. Salim, c'est un chanteur engagé. Salim is a singer, but who always preach about issues, just like Bob Marley and those others. Salim Dia, s'il te plaît, il faut t'introduire en français ou en anglais comme tu veux.
Yes, I big up everybody. My name is Salim Diapita. I'm an artist, singer, race, reggae music. I live in Paris. Yeah, so and tonight I thank Mr. Jean to invite me to talk about two things, the coup d'etat and the racism. It's very, very objective, and we are going to talk about.
Thank you, Salim. Merci, Salim. Doctor, everybody is ready. Rich, coup d'etat failing in America, quite a few people dead. I'm looking at the coup, the word took by Donald Trump, and I'm looking at him like somebody who came against Obama. I mean, just to destroy Obama's legacy. And by him trying to do so, is a guy who calls himself white, trying to be black. He cannot be black. What is your view on that, Rich?
I think the election of Donald Trump was, in fact, a swinging of the pendulum from the reasonable to the unreasonable, and it was a direct response to 8 years of Obama, especially after he won the second term. Trump's rise to power was because he found a core amongst a certain group of people that would appear normal if you look at them, that would appear normal if you speak to them. But he found what I describe as in the old days, they used to have those dolls. I don't know if you know the dolls that you pull the string and they would just, kind of waddle along. What Donald Trump did, he found the string in a lot of these people, and that string was racism. That string was that yearning for the old days when they were in charge and they called the shots simply because they were white. And I think that was what we saw in terms of the coup was a fermenting of all those feelings and those sentiments. And if you look at 74 million people voting for this guy after 4 years of incompetence, lies, cheating, stealing, fermenting violence, there is no other explanation except to say that he found that core string and he pulled it.
Those people we're talking about, my question, because I always go deeper. I mean, I'm a guy who watch a lot of movies, and I don't know if anybody pay attention to the movie played by Jamie Foxx, Django.
Django, yes.
There's some white people, they can't even say the N-word. The N-word, they say beggar. Hey, beggar, what are you doing? See, I am trying not to justify or to mistake the identity or personality of somebody, I'm asking myself, why would somebody be so blind not to see the reality of the fact? Are they trying to neglect the reality, or they just choose to be blind? That's my question. Salim, if you can bring your attention to that, your words to that, I will be glad to listen to you.
Alors, par rapport à la question, tu peux me reprendre la question, s'il te plaît, en français?
La question c'est simple, parce qu'il y a beaucoup de gens qui ont voté Donald Trump, beaucoup de blancs. Ils se prennent pour des blancs. Mais j'ai regardé un cinéma, un movie avec Jamie Foxx. Il y a des blancs qui ne pouvaient même pas utiliser le mot haine. Au lieu de dire haine, c'est beggar. C'est l'ignorance à son paroxysme absolu. Donc, ce que je te demande, est-ce que tu as vu, est-ce que tu as regardé, est-ce que tu peux nous en parler, tes perspectives là-dessus?
Et non seulement, je remercie dans un premier temps la démocratie américaine qui a réussi à fermer toutes ses portes toutes ces portes autour de ces malfrats, dont le leader est Donald Trump, et qui est un ennemi exemplaire de la démocratie. Donc, je remercie ce peuple américain. Et d'une part, Donald Trump est entouré d'ignorants, puisque lui-même, il fait partie. Donc, c'est un homme qui a baigné dans la richesse, dans l'argent, qui n'a jamais souffert et qui n'a pas connu la souffrance, qui ne sait pas de quoi il s'agit. Donc, qui vivait dans un monde hors norme qui n'a rien à voir avec le monde dans lequel nous vivons. Donc, il avait un raisonnement qui lui ressemble, qui est propre à lui, mais qui n'est pas notre monde à nous. Donc, tout ce qui l'entoure autour et ce qu'il exprime ressort tout de suite, parce que quand on est en face d'un ignorant, on ne peut pas le traiter de con, on ne peut pas le traiter de bête, on ne peut pas le traiter de stupide, mais on peut dire juste qu'il est ignorant. Donc maintenant, comme on sait bien qu'on est en face d'un ignorant, comment peut-on, lui d'abord, l'aider à se construire, parce que dans sa tête, il y a un problème, et ensuite, pour qu'il retransmette le message à ceux qui l'adorent, ceux qui l'admirent, pour les convertir. Moi, je pense que c'est un combat qu'il y a à faire, parce que sinon, une personne comme ça est spéciale et il n'y a pas de mot à le qualifier en tant que comme raciste, ce que je vais dire.
Yes, we were talking about racism, and everybody has a different view about racism. But what I said back in the day, before Black were so-called free, there was slavery and white. Racism, and I'm listening to Al Sharpton, to Joy Reid, even the new guy, the Senator Warnock, who said there's a lot of more work to do based on the racism. They mentioned the Black thing, Black. My concern here, which I'm trying to grasp to understand, when do one become Black? Just a quotation. I don't know if you have a chance to see Trevor Noah from South Africa, stand-up comedy. Trevor Noah once say, I came to America, I want to be Black, because he's a mixture of white and Black. He got more light skin. He gets to the airport, the Spanish said, hey, bro, we got to stick together. So my question is, the Black, is that Black, you have to be American to be Black? if they want to solve the problem, don't you think they should consider overview the Black around the world? I'm talking Haiti, I'm talking Africa, our motherland. What is your view on that, Rich?
Okay, I think, well, first I have to ask you, when you say they, who's they in terms of considering people Black or not? Who's the they that you're referring to?
I'm referring to the American viewers, American people here, because I came here because of my accent. Some Black Americans said to me, go back to your country. That means I'm not as Black as them. And I'm listening to some of them said, I'm not African, I'm American.
Yes.
But in regards to your skin color, that's how, like my friend from Niger saying, that's ignorance. Skin don't define people. And one thing I advanced, which I said that if you can help me understand it better, I said to people, anybody can be white. Ask Michael Jackson. Can everybody be Black? When do we become Black in this country?
Well, first we have to recognize that being Black is, there's an outward appearance and then there's an inner appearance, meaning that for me, when I think about Blackness, I don't think of it as a thing that I don't want to be. And I think if we have this discussion about what is Black, we have to be mindful. For instance, if you talk about Trevor Noah, for instance, Trevor Noah's half Black, half white. But do you know of the one drop rule, which means that as long as you have one drop of Black blood, you are considered Black. So Barack Obama, for instance, white mother, Black father, but they say the first Black president. Why couldn't he be a white president? Because his mother's white. It is a matter of perception. But at the heart of that is those of us who are Black, and we are Black. We are Black whether we come from, as long as, you know, there's a brother I just became aware of. Actually, I became aware of him a few years ago. He's on YouTube. He has a channel. He goes by the YouTube name Wodemaya. He's a young kid. He's probably about 23 now. And what he's done, his channel, he has a channel, and his series is called Africa to the World. And what he's doing is simply showing all the positive things about Africa. Not that Africa has nothing negative, but he'll show you the major cities. He'll show you the hotels, the golf courses, the places that rival places like Dubai, that you will never see on BBC, you'll never see on CNN, you'll never see on MSNBC, you'll never see on any Europeanized media, so to speak. And we have to first accept and embrace the Blackness. Whether you're Black American, there's a Black in there. You are from the motherland. Your heritage is there. Whether you ended up in France, or you ended up in Haiti, or you ended up in Istanbul, or wherever you ended up. But first, you must accept that being Black is a great thing, not a bad thing. That you are descendants of kings and queens and great civilizations. If you have that mindset, you don't walk the street with your pants hanging off your ass. You see where I'm coming from? So the Blackness is first an acceptance of our heritage, and where we are situated in the diaspora has nothing to do with that. And some would say, well, your skin color doesn't make you Black. Well, that depends on who you're talking to. It depends on with whom you're responding to. Trevor Noah's point, I think, was to say, he didn't know, just as I didn't know before I left Trinidad, I wasn't aware of race in the way that I am now. So if I am in Africa and there's a whole world of Black folks around me, I don't think that I'm Black. I'm just rich. When I come here and the majority of folks are white, and the minute I walk in the door, everybody turns and looks at me and you know, acknowledges my difference, then I become Black. And I think that's what Trevor Noah is trying to say.
Salim,
Oui.
comment toi tu vois les Noirs et à côté des Blancs, par exemple? Ce que Rich disait, c'est que il faut que les Noirs apprennent.
J'ai bien noté ça. C'est ça.
Est-ce que tu as quelque chose à dire là-dessus?
Alors, ce que je vais dire tout simplement, il a raison. Il a raison parce que il est revenu sur un des messages de Marcus Garvey. Donc, Marcus Garvey qui dit « Respect yourself and the people will respect you. When you forget yourself, nobody don't know who you are. And when you don't know when you come from, you never know where you go.
Absolutely.
You understand? You never forget the rules. The rules. So Marcus Garvey said that for the people, for all Black people. And sometimes you get some Black when they meet some minority white people or something, on the moment they're not Black. And when they move on the place, they'll be Black. And then I don't understand that. I see that in the different restaurants in Paris, or nightclub or something. And the things that I talk, you have to stay yourself. On ne peut pas changer. Tu ne peux pas changer ta personne. Tu sais d'où tu viens. Tu ne peux pas. C'est quelque chose qui est en toi. C'est ton identité. It's your identity. You know? Donc, une fois que tu as cette identité, tu ne peux pas l'obliger. Moi, il arrive des moments où on me dit, fais pas ça, ça. En fait, le fait d'être même dans un milieu où tu te sympathises avec tout le monde, certains même oublient que tu es noir, et avec un certain nombre de propos. Mais j'essaie de les rappeler, de les faire comprendre que moi, ma personne, je n'ai pas oublié ma racine. I will never forget my roots. It's my identity. You understand? Donc, il arrive des moments où les gens, quand ils sont riches, comme il disait, Nel et Magnel, ils oublient, ils ont tout le confort qu'ils ont autour d'eux, et au moment qu'ils se disent, qu'ils se retrouvent dans un milieu beaucoup plus high, plus grand qu'eux, c'est là qu'ils reviennent parce qu'ils voient autour d'eux, c'est pour ne pas répéter ce qu'il dit, quand on te regarde, c'est là que tu te regardes, tu dis, ah, mais c'est moi, on regarde. Ah oui, oui, c'est toi, on regarde. Et tu réfléchis dans ta tête, tu comprends quelque chose qui résonne. Voilà.
Bien dit. Rich, I was paying attention to what you're saying here, and that's something.
Et je voulais dire aussi un vrai big up à tous les descendants de Toussaint Louverture, parce que c'est une personne qui a marqué l'histoire et qui a presque les mêmes idées comme Marcus Garvey. Rastafari.
Très bien, merci. Big up to Toussaint Louverture. There's one topic I will bring to that also, which when you mentioned Toussaint Louverture, and I'm asking myself, is that a coincidence? It's big mystery. I put Toussaint Louverture philosophy and Dr. King philosophy, they're identical. And I'm looking at Malcolm X, and I'm looking at Jean-Jacques Dessalines, same philosophy, except Toussaint was there before King, Jean-Jacques Dessalines was there before Malcolm X. And that's pinpoint, like you said, we are one human race. And there's one point you said, which I would like you to talk more about it. You said about respect, okay? Yeah, I'm looking like something was not pleased to look. A Black man with your pants under your butt showing your underwear. What type of message you bring? How do you seek for the respect of others when you expose yourself to that? I would like to listen to hear more about it from you, Rich, please.
I firmly believe that we need a revolution within our community. And that revolution is about the mind. As the brother said, you have to have pride in yourself. You cannot act as they wanted us to act. You cannot be what they have always told you you are. You have to know in yourself that you are not what they said you are. Yeah. And you have to act that way. Too many of us do not have a sense of our history. A black man who's born in America will never look at a black man who was born in France or the Caribbean or anywhere else if he has the right mindset and sense of history and think that they're different than he is, or that they are beneath him because he is Americanized. We need a revolution of the mind, and that means that we have to teach our children from whence we came. We have to not do what they have done. For instance, I'll give you an example. They have made everything that is black bad. I'll give you some very simple examples. If you play chess, the black pieces, the white pieces go first. If you shoot pool, the white ball hits all the other balls down, and what's the prize ball? The black ball. There is black market, black heart. It's a dark day in heaven. They've made everything that is bad black, and yet everything that is white, right. A white dove came down from heaven, pure as a driven snow. We have to understand that there is a deep connotation of when they then call us black people. What are those people, after years of indoctrination with that idea that black things are bad, what are they to think of us? The problem is, many of us start thinking the same thing of us. That is the problem. We need to have pride in who we are. When someone says, you know, I am a dark-skinned man, I remember going to school and someone say, oh, you're so black and dark. And I say to them, even then, at that age, I would say to them, and you're saying that because you think that would offend me? But again, that didn't come from me. That came from my parents, my mother, strong, strong woman. That came from my aunt who raised me when my mother came here to go work and clean houses for white folks. That strength is what carries me through today. So when I speak to a black man, a white man, a blue man, a pink, whatever they call themselves, I carry that sense of pride all the time. That's what we need to do. That has been our problem. This fragmentation of the black people because I'm from this place, or I'm from that place, or I'm better than you, or you live on trees, or you from Africa, or you got flies on your faces, or go back to Africa where you come from. That is because you don't know your history, and you have been convinced that you are bad. And then you convince yourself that because I'm come from another place, I am worse than you, so then you can put your chest out and say, well, at least I'm better than that guy. That has been our problem. And it continues to this day. And one thing, you mentioned Malcolm X. Malcolm X will always remain a hero of mine. And that is because he's always said, take pride in who you are. Carry yourself. Look, in 1963, when every black man was called the N-word, no one dared, black or white, to say that to his face, because he made it clear, I will not accept that. And if you study human psychology, Napoleon Hill said, our brain is the first machine of transmission. He didn't say machine, I can't remember the exact word. And that means that, and the example he gave, if you have pride in yourself and you walk down the street and you have that mindset, you will notice everybody will move out of your way. Try it. Put your chest up, have pride in yourself, carry yourself with dignity, and everybody will separate to let you pass. If you carry yourself a different way, everybody will stand in your way.
Yeah, that's true.
Which, I mean, now I gotta preach it. Well said, well preached. But let's resume back to that failing coup with Donald J. Trump. From all we said here, it's about pride and stuff like that. And I'm looking, is that a misconception, misunderstanding, or lack of knowledge? We have created that type of reaction, even among those white folks. How can somebody be bad and the person is bad, you tell me is good? And I'm trying to understand that I really can find a way, I can find myself into that. Par exemple, quand on parle de Donald Trump avec ses subordonnés-là, qu'il adore, alors qu'il fait des choses pas catholiques, des choses très, très, très pas propres. Et il a eu tant d'admirateurs, tant de gens qui lui baissaient et je ne veux pas dire ça, on regarde quand même. Mais comment définir ça? Comment s'en sortir? Normalement, c'est un problème. Faut-il bien content de s'en sortir? Comment on va faire ça? Comme Noah, comme chanteur, comme artiste, et tu as ce plateforme-là, tu peux chanter, tu peux toucher un peu plus de personnes. Comment tu peux l'approcher? Comment tu le vois toi-même?
Bon, dans un premier temps, d'abord, je pense que aujourd'hui, le monde entier est fixé sur les États-Unis. Et les États-Unis, par rapport à ce qui s'est passé, ce qu'on connaît de Donald Trump. La question pourquoi tant de monde le suit est que c'était écrit dans tous les différents livres saints que la bêtise n'a pas de limite. Aujourd'hui, si vous et moi, on a décidé de créer une espèce de clan qu'on va appeler, je ne sais pas, Y, c'est un exemple, et qu'on le lance sur Internet et qu'on fait beaucoup plus de promotion, beaucoup plus de bruit, tous les gens vont s'appeler Y. Mais la majorité vont même s'adhérer sans savoir pourquoi ils s'adhèrent. Ça, c'est l'être humain. C'est la bêtise qui se trouve au sein de l'être humain. Donc, si des gens nous contemplent parce qu'on vient avec des mots, surtout des mots sataniques, ça peut les intéresser. C'est vicieux. Et le Satan joue son rôle en ce moment. Et qui condense, qui pousse à ce que les gens puissent venir vers nous. Donc, c'est ce que a fait Donald Trump. Mais il s'est trompé d'une chose est que il y a ce qu'on appelle le matériel et le mind. When you don't have the mind, you get the material like money. You will think your money will bring you so high and anybody can't talk you no. Everybody will say we accept. We accept everything you say. So he think after God, he is the God.
Yeah, that's been they've been saying money can't buy everything, like which you define it also. You can't buy a lot of things with money, really.
Exactly.
And then that's probably why everybody's trying, like which I know a lot of friends of mine, push their kids to school, have an education. But my thinking, which even though one day we're going to become majority than minority, if those rich people can listen to us and make sure their kids go to school, get the proper education, I might think we might have a better world.
Education. What exactly is education?
Yeah, this is the foundation.
Yes, it is the foundation, but we have to be careful. The institutions are not set up to really teach our folks how to succeed. They teach, actually not even our folks in general, they teach you to become a cog in the machinery, ideally. So educating yourself, when I say educate, I mean, it's all well and good. You can have a PhD in this or be an engineer and that sort of thing. But that's one kind of education and it's a valid kind. But there's another kind of education that will take that engineering degree that you have and put it on, for lack of a better term, steroids. We have to be mindful of our standing in the world. And we have to not make other people decide for us how important we are, how important the things that we care about is. We have to be strong in that sense. And the strength, and I keep saying this, the strength comes from a sense of our history. That is, I think, one of the biggest failings we've had in terms of passing on what we should to the next generation. You know, I do believe that my children should stand on my shoulder, meaning that we should continuously elevate ourselves. And then their children should stand on their shoulders. We can't do that if we simply follow what everybody is telling us we ought to follow. We have politicians who say, do this or do that. We have ministers in churches who've gotten more political than some of the politicians who tell us to do this or do that. We have to develop a critical mind to see what will benefit us and what won't, and to not be led like sheep to the slaughter. In terms of Donald Trump and the folks, and again, the folks who follow, there are three groups of people that follow Donald Trump. At the top of that group is the people who are smart enough to know better, but they make a ton of money from supporting his policies. In the middle of that group is a group of people who, well, they need him for their survival. So the politicians, if they turn against him, all the people that they want to come on their side, because that's the entire Republican Party. I mean, 74 million people voted for this man. So they figure, if I don't do this, I'm going to lose my job. These people are going to turn against me. Mind you, these are the monsters that we created, but they will turn against me. And then at the bottom of that spectrum is a group of people who their brains are just not fully developed. Their racism is so strong that that's all they can see and nothing else. And they feel that they are losing what they've always had, power, solely based on the fact that they are white. That group of people is at the heart of what happened in this failed coup. There's a group of people who just sit back, stoke the fire for that bottom group, and just let them go ahead and hope that they get the result that they want. At the heart of all of them, though, that's 74 million people, there has to be one thing. And you said in the beginning that you're trying to figure out what is that thing. I mean, the man lies to them. He clearly doesn't care about any of them, and still they follow him. I do believe, and the evidence I think have shown that that one thing is that racist core. He reached out, and remember, a lot of people said, and I do believe, he is not the problem. He is not at the, he didn't create this. All he did was wake it up. And he started that when Barack Obama was president with the birther stuff. So in other words, instead of just calling himself a racist, he says, no, I just don't like him because he wasn't born here. And then of course, all the conservative media took it up and so on and so forth. He is not the problem. He's a symptom of the problem, or rather he's a catalyst that brought the problem to the surface.
Yeah. But again, the problem is there. We're there, we exist. Cogito ergo sum. We think, we exist. Put our mind and thinking, how do we go by it? Do we just like fight the way they fight, or do we generally fight? Bring the whole Black race together, from Haiti to Africa to America, bring the message out so people can understand, can grasp what is our vision and impose it. Like you said to me, Rich, if you work, you put your head down, they're gonna stomp over you.
Absolutely.
If you represent yourself, not with your pants down the board, you don't have to be like a philosopher or an engineer. As long as you got a level of education where you can survive, you can provide to yourself, respect should be there. That's my thinking. So can we sit down and watch it, or do, I mean, myself as I'm Rezone on my platform, bring Rich, bring Salim, and then have people listen, and maybe we can touch more people. Looking at the media, which something really bothers me. Whenever I'm listening to the media, I say the first Black American, the first Black African become this and that. When do somebody become somebody without that epithet of Black or white?
I think a big part of that is there are a lot of folks who, when it comes to, oh, he's the first Black who did this and the first Black who that. If we were really not a nation of based on race, that would never come up. So I feel the exact same way that you feel when you see these, every time somebody achieves something, it says, oh, the first Black and the first Black and the first Black. You know, Barack Obama, the first Black with the Yale, and he was the president of Harvard Law School and this and that and the other. What it does for a lot of those people who have that mindset, you know what they think? They think you got that because you're Black and they're trying to make it look like you really did it. That's what it means. So it's a code way to say, if he's the first Black, why weren't there others? So maybe he just got that because of, and you know what they say on conservative? He got that because of affirmative action. So we have to be able to read behind the lines. And I think what you said, I feel the same way when I hear it. It just irritates me, but it is what it is. Like, for instance, the other day they had a story about this young Black kid who was, what was he, 8 years old, and he was already in college. And they were like, oh, you know, and they put him up on a pedestal, and that's great because he is achieving a lot of good things. But don't act like he's the only Black folk or the only Black kid who is that smart. So it makes it look like that's the anomaly. How many times do you see they do that for white kids who are that who do that?
That's create a stereotyping which really don't have place in this world. Now I got the Salim Jah. Salim Jah is from Niger. And then we watching a coup, felling coup from America. Salim, est-ce que tu peux nous parler du Niger? Comment ça va? Est-ce qu'il y a encore le coup parce qu'il y a l'élection qui s'approche au Niger? Comment ça va là-bas?
Et je vais vous dire qu'actuellement au Niger, on vit aussi dans le même coup d'État. Hein? Et puisque je vais dire une chose, est que nous sommes en plein organisation des élections présidentielles. Et donc, nous avons des lois que la Constitution, par exemple, demande à chaque leader pour pouvoir se présenter à ces élections présidentielles, doivent remplir un certain nombre de cases. Et donc, on se retrouve avec le parti qui est au pouvoir, qui impose aux Nigériens un candidat qui fait partie de son parti politique, qui, selon les tests, ne peut pas accéder au fauteuil suprême, à la présidence. Puisque nous, chez nous, on est encore un petit peu en recul par rapport aux États-Unis. Il faudrait être nigérien, question d'origine. Et donc, le monsieur en question ne le remplit pas. Mais malgré tout ça, le président ainsi que la Cour constitutionnelle du Niger, puisque beaucoup de pays d'Afrique, tant qu'on tient la présidence, généralement, dans beaucoup de cas, on tient la justice. Et donc, veut nous imposer une personne pour accéder coûte que coûte à prendre la relève. Donc, la relève qui veut dire que si il arrive au pouvoir, tout ce qui s'agit des défauts, des erreurs qui ont été faites, comme les détournements de fonds publics, la corruption qui ne manque pas, les assassinats et autres choses seront couverts par cette personne dont il n'aura pas une poursuite contre lui. C'est intelligent, mais seulement la Constitution ne permet pas à cette personne de se présenter. Et actuellement, on est vraiment dans une tension difficile où on est mal entouré, le Niger en question, puisqu'on fait frontière avec 7 pays, dont la Libye, qui est aujourd'hui le no man's land, dont je vais dire les armes circulent partout, il n'y a pas de loi, pas d'autorité. Nous nous retrouvons avec l'Algérie qui maîtrise, mais en même temps qui se trouve avec quelques milices. L'autre côté, on a le Mali, dont vous connaissez, je ne sais pas si vous êtes au courant, le nord du Mali est envahi complètement par des djihadistes et des bandits armés. Et on a une autre bord où il y a le Nigeria qui est aussi, il y a l'installation d'un certain nombre de djihadistes, dont le Boko Haram. Je ne sais pas si vous avez entendu parler.
Oui.
Et voilà. Et donc, on est mal entouré. Mais on a un problème au sein du pays qui est vraiment une tension de haut niveau et que nous croisons les doigts, nous faisons tous nos prières. Avant-hier, que je vais vous dire, c'était le 1er janvier, il y a eu plus de 100 civils assassinés gratuitement dans 2 villages.
Au Niger.
Et au Niger, je vous parle de quelques jours. Et avant ça, il y a eu d'autres victimes dans l'armée, plus de 100 morts, c'est-à-dire depuis les 10 mandats, en fait les 10 ans de mandat du président actuel, nous nous sommes retrouvés dans une situation difficile. Ça, il faut le souligner. Et voilà ce qui se passe actuellement au Niger. Il y a eu les premiers tours des élections. Le parti au pouvoir a pensé faire un coup KO, c'est leur slogan, pour prendre tout un coup, mais ça n'a pas marché. Là, ils sont en train de voir comment ils vont faire pour faire des alliances avec d'autres partis politiques pour passer, mais la tension est palpable actuellement. Voilà les nouvelles actuelles de mon pays.
Il faut en parler un peu plus. Rich, I don't know if you don't
voilà, il faut expliquer à Rich pour qu'il puisse comprendre.
He was talking about the situation in Niger, where he's from, right? Surrounding by Nigeria with those bandits.
Boko Haram and those guys, yeah.
Boko Haram, Ivory Coast. But my thing is this, Rich, and this is where I got problem. How do we survive the racism in here if we don't start existing within ourselves, like you just said? How do we approach that? What should be our role within in order for us to change it? Because it's not a simple work, it's not a small job. And then those results in Africa have an impact right here in America. And which what I said, I don't care how much money you make, what is your level of education, what you are till, the Black world is stable. Black people will never be stable. If I'm wrong, Rich, please quote me.
I agree, and Marcus Garvey would agree with you. Bob Marley would agree with you. Yes, Africa must unite, and Africa not just in the continent, but Africa in the diaspora. But for us to do that, besides having pride in ourselves and our history, we have to understand that power is never ever taken; it's always given. And I think if you can really internalize that idea, power is never, ever taken. It's always given. And I don't care if you're Donald Trump or Vladimir Putin or Genghis Khan or you know.
Oh, myself, Johnson Melfort.
All right. Or Robert Mugabe, or it is always given. And it starts off very, very small. It starts off with Donald Trump, for an example. You know, beat them up. And then someone beat them up, I'll pay your bill. Beat up the reporters, beat up the this. And somebody says, he's just saying that. And then he goes a little further and a little further and a little further. And this happens with despots all around the world, whether it be in Niger or in the United States or in Haiti or wherever. This is how it begins. So for us as African people, diaspora and on the continent, we have to be mindful. If you give power to those who are evil at heart, rather, if they come into power, it's because you as a people have given it to them.
Yeah, that's true.
We must understand, do not give your power to people who don't deserve it. You know what my mother used to tell me, rest her soul? She said, if you disagree with a man, if you find a man unjust, never shake his hand. Do not give up your power. Let him understand that you are not with him when he's doing the things that are wrong. And for many of us, we simply just, wave it along, this or that, or we say, oh, he's from Haiti though, that doesn't affect me as a Black American. Or the Haitian said, oh, he's a Black American, that doesn't affect me as a Haitian, let him deal with it. And we don't see the common denominator. We are all people. We are all the original people, put it that way. And I want to be clear, when I talk about white folks, I don't want people to think that I'm talking about white folks in general. I'm talking about, this is about good and evil. You cannot be a decent human being and support what Donald Trump is doing by any stretch of the word. You cannot be a decent human being and support what Boko Haram is doing. So it's more of it's not so much a black and white race, a fight in a sense. It's a good and evil fight. It's a decency and racism fight. It is about the core of the human being. As Malcolm X would say after he came back from the Hajj, I sat with people who were not Black folks and I felt a kinship. It is about the mind and the heart of the man or the woman. So when I speak of those folks who support Donald Trump now, I'm not just speaking purely of their whiteness, because there were thousands who rose up when George Floyd was killed that were not Black people. So we have to be mindful. There are good people and there are bad people. And in this case, these in the white supremacist group, they happen to be white, but they are bad people. But there are millions of white folks who are good and decent human beings. And in order for even the Black race to come together, first we have to do it amongst ourselves, and then we collaborate with good people all around the world. As Bob Marley would say, it's about love, peace, liberty through music.
Rich, please allow me to translate that part into my dialect Creole.
Yes.
Because I love it. Mes amis, en pile haïtien captain de nous, excusez-moi.
Rich is Rastaman.
Salim parle français, Rich parle anglais, Rich saute Trinidad, monsieur lui-même Niger, moi-même saute Haïti. Rich, don bagay là, nous-mêmes captain de nous, en ordre de lui. Nous t'as parlé de pouvoir. C'est des pouvoirs, c'est bail ou bail. Donc, là, nous prenons, nous mettons au pouvoir, nous n'avons pas qualifié, nous responsables, quel que soit sa qui si moun sa venu li détruit pays, nous fait partie de destruction au pays par nous. Le vocal nous salue, donc li important dans le moment que y est là, parce que mes vidéos yo viennent parler dans en raisonner, parce que en raisonner pas limité tête li. Et qui te me dit tout le monde tout en plus femme qu'on croise avec mon cap dit ah parler François parler créole, yo exiger que tout haïtien pas à l'apprendre créole seulement. Cependant, l'organe possibilité de langage, il plus pour. Et l'idée finie, quand je dis comme si le son chinois qui paraît, il parlait de lui. Mais les sons blancs, il parce que l'anormal continue à apparaître. Qui pas vrai qu'il faut. Nous avons en pile bonté et grandeur la canon en nous appliquer. Haïtien, qui toujours regarder moi, on va nous dire les élections Haïti. Nous payons pour nous voter. On nous camper ça sec. Nous changeons. Et m'a dit ça en créole, pour qu'attendez. Toute civilisation a parlé de noir, ils viennent parler de racisme. Moi, me dit racisme vient parce que nous t'es cassé du français. Nous pas esclaves encore. Nous déclarons indépendance, nous sommes indépendants depuis avant les États-Unis. En 1965, c'est le ça a aboli l'esclavage ici aux États-Unis, alors que nous-mêmes, nous sommes libérés. Donc, c'est dans le contexte, monsieur dit en anglais, pour mon capitaine de nous traduit partie ça en créole pour bien comprendre. Salim Jah, which I've been translating exactly to my people I'm Haitian, of course. I always gonna be. I can have a French passport. I can have an American passport, Spanish or whatever.
International.
I
Yes.
always gonna be one Haitian. What I said to people, right? We have tendency of limit ourselves to a certain level.
Mm.
The world is for everybody. We got access to it.
Yeah.
Let's jump into it. Like which define it, there's good and evil. There's bad and evil, right? Your choice. If you want to be bad, you got a limit. There's a time it will end, and very fast. And the beauty with it, history will forget about you. You
Mhm.
think people really in the future will take time to talk about Donald Trump? Donald who? There's no legacy. There's nothing to talk about. Somebody, I mean, from ground zero is nothing. Even though with money, a lot of us think money is power. We say that today. Brand is power. Like I said in Latin, cogito ergo sum. For you to exist is through the mind. You have to think. I really appreciate Salim Jah, which I will bring back to the show one day. That will be in French, and I will bring which also again, because normally the issue here is Donald Trump failing coup d'etat, and which is so funny. This is a guy called Africa as for country, called Haiti as for country, and we mask the coup d'etat.
Ah.
Donald, if you want to learn how to do coup d'etat, come to the asshole country and there, my friend, there, Donald, you might become a better person. You might be able to learn something different. And it's not to anybody who can understand the African culture. Even in here in America, my brothers are American. Like we say, open your mind. The world is for us to grab. We are the first civilization.
Absolutely.
And I will say to people, when people laugh about it, hey, if I want to be white, I can be white. Ask Michael Jackson. I dare you to be black. So to my black people, that's the power, that's the beauty. That's what I'm looking at myself, which I see, yo, I'm pretty. My skin, which your skin impose yourself. Salim, you impose yourself.
Yeah.
But you know what? You become prettier
Yeah.
when you apply your mind.
Yeah.
You become better when you can stand for your belief. And that's what we're saying. That's what Salim Jah is saying. And to my viewers, I'm hoping you're learning something today. Which coup d'etat failing in America, so Donald Trump is out in the 20 days, Joe Biden is coming. What is your thought?
I think we'll continue to move forward. I think the all the threats and part of the reason we're still having a whole lot of threats and they're threatening to do other things is that they got away with this one so very easily. I mean, the cops actually opened the door for them. So, you know, there's some collaborators or whatever in there. But I think we'll continue to move forward. One thing I want to say about this country and this thing that's called a constitution. I've said it in other circles, and I do believe that there is nothing in the history of mankind that seeks to do what's in the Constitution. The ideals that are written in the Constitution are great ones. They have not been followed, at least for everyone, equally as they should have been, as they should be even today. But if we were to follow those ideals and more for the times as they have allowed for amendments and so on, because there are things that you cannot know will happen in the future. If we were to apply that and apply it evenly under the law to everyone, it's a magnificent document. So if we can continuously move in that direction, I think America will continue to be great and greater. You know, not that it has no problems, not that we don't have issues, but we will continue to weed out those who have evil thoughts about a person because of their skin color and religion and all that foolishness. We'll begin to squeeze them into a smaller group time and time again. And the good thing is, as generations come and go, a lot of that stuff gets weeded out because we see a lot more integration with the younger generations and so on. And they're a lot more open to different kinds of music, different kinds of food, different kinds of cultures. And these things help weed out those archaic mindsets. But there will always be people who have those things, who think the way that they do. What we have to do, especially as people of color, is to carry ourselves with pride. Do not contribute to the stereotypes that they've made for us, and act as though we are daughters and sons of kings and queens and great civilizations in Timbuktu and Egypt and places like that. Don't carry ourselves like our existence began with slavery and ends with slavery. That is not who we are, that is not who we were, and that is not who we ought to become. And one more thing, again, I mentioned before, there's this young African brother on YouTube. His channel is called Wodemaya, W-O-D-E-M-A-Y-A. I encourage everyone to go on and look at some of the things he's showing about Africa. Not all the negative things. We can find that on BBC, we can find that on CNN and MSN, or whomever. But the great cities, the great civilizations, the things that African entrepreneurs are doing, the resorts, the hotels, the things that are owned by folks of color in Africa, African entrepreneurs, things you will never ever see on mainstream media. And I think that will help open your eyes. How many of you have seen images of the city of Mozambique? How many of you have seen images of Ghana, the magnificent bridges?
I've been there.
You have.
I've been there.
You
I
have been
live
there.
I know them.
There you go.
Wait, you speaking to the call, you touching my heart here, and I am blessed to have that platform. I'm blessed to have you today. I call you, you came, and I'm saying thank you to you and Salim. Now, lui là, il va partir là, parce qu'on a tiré pas mal de leçons sur ce qui se passe aux États-Unis. Encore, il y a des problèmes qui sévissent entre nous, entre nos frères. À travers la musique, à travers la parole, comment tu vas participer à ce changement que Rich vient de prêcher. C'est un sermon solennel qu'il nous a donné. Comment toi, tu vas contribuer à ce travail?
Alors, d'abord, je remercie Rich parce que Rich, je pense que c'est le Rasta qui n'a pas de locks. Voilà. Et c'est un philosophe et il a l'âme de la sagesse. Donc, je le remercie. Et ce que je veux dire est qu'en tant qu'artiste, pour ne pas mentir, ma mission est multiple. Mes missions sont multiples, c'est-à-dire j'ai plusieurs tâches à faire dont je venais de vous expliquer la situation qui se passe actuellement chez moi, dans mon pays natal et aux alentours. On a tellement de missions à accomplir qu'il est difficile de s'éparpiller. Mais je suis sûr et certain que des confrères comme Morgan Heritage, que j'ai déjà rencontrés, pourront continuer avec des bons messages, avec comment qu'on appelle d'autres groupes qui peut même être un bon exemple parce que Grandation, c'est un groupe de musique reggae qui se trouve à New York et le chanteur est un blanc barbu, mais qui respire tout ce qui est couleur noire, c'est-à-dire tout ce qui est autour de l'homme noir. La nourriture, les habits, le style, même la manière de parler, et il essaye même d'apprendre sans rien cacher le créole haïtien, ce chanteur Grandation. Donc, c'est des personnes comme ça, ils pourront véhiculer beaucoup plus le message pour montrer à leurs semblables que je suis blanc, je suis en communauté avec tout le monde et j'ai pas besoin qu'on me cite des différentes couleurs pour un savoir-vivre. Alors, le savoir-vivre, il est d'abord individuel, après collectif. Donc, je pense que je vais apporter à ma manière, je continuerai, mais les missions sont multiples. Rastafari.
One love, thanks Rich, et thanks Salim, tout le monde qui t'attend des messages au passé. We have a lot of work to do. Like Bob Marley said, we have to be united. We have to set our priority, vision. And then like everybody was listening to me right now, I'm going to tell you right now, that's it white, that's it black. There is one race, the human race.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing you can do about it. You have to be an imbecile, a moron, not to realize, not to understand. This is one human race. Cut my blood, called Donald Trump blood, you will see the same red blood. The difference is I can't say cogito ergo sum. He can't. He spent all his money. I just got people, I said, thank you to Rich, I thank you to Salim, and I'm expecting you another time. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Big up. Yes, sir.